Hello tech friends, today I'm going to talk a little about the changes I made with YouTube and also ask me anything questions that some people made me. Let's start the episode. Some update about my YouTube channel is that if you notice from the last video I changed the name from Arch2Tech to TechMeet News. The first reason why I changed the name is because I want to become more active in this channel, so maybe changing the name would give a new life to this channel. The second reason why I changed the name is because I love meat. And the third reason is because it's much easier to say Tech Meet than to say Arctic Tech. So there you go, that's why I've changed the name. But the channel continues kind of the same. I'm going to try to bring more news instead of just unboxing and tutorials. So let's go to the Ask Me Anything. The first questions come from Thiago, and he asks me, why does Swiss cheese have holes? And if that means that the more cheese you have, the less cheese you have. Well, the first part of the question is why the Swiss cheese have holes? The answer is because there's some bacteria when the cheese is forming that gives the taste and give the form and everything like that in the cheese. And in the Swiss cheese, the bacteria form carbon dioxide, and this carbon dioxide makes some bubbles in the cheese, and that become the holes that you know in the Swiss cheese. And the second part of the question is that if more cheese means less cheese because of the holes. And that's not true, since the holes are kind of the same size in all of the cheese. Then if you buy more Swiss cheese, it means that you're still getting more Swiss cheese. Victoria asked me, my dad said that you can extract electricity off a lemon. Is that true? The reason why people believe that is because when you take a lemon and you take a zinc and copper and you put them on the lemon, then it means that when you put together the zinc and the copper, the electricity from the zinc you're gonna go to the copper. So it's not really the lemon that's giving the electricity or the electrons, it's the zinc that has some free electrons because the positive side of the zinc is going to the lemon. So they are free to go to the other side. So it's not really the lemon, it's the zinc that gives the electrons to the copper. Next question is from Israel, and he asked me, what is sin? Is it possible for a person to stop to sin? Israel, that question is really deep, so I'm not the one that maybe should say what is right or wrong, but let's just go check Wikipedia first, shall we? At Wikipedia it says, sin is the act of violating God's will. So first you have to ask yourself, do you believe in God, and what God do you believe in? So depending on what God you believe, then you have to check out what is against this God's will. And if you do it against that, then you're probably in a sin. Since I'm Christian, then I can say that in my point of view, everyone do sin, but you can redeem yourself with the help of Jesus and God and all these stuff. But the only thing I can say to any religion is that love goes a long way. I'm gonna put a link of a YouTube video that I think it's really nice to see if you want to see in a Christian's perspective. So check it out if you want it. The next question comes from Manfred, and he asked me, what's the biggest difference between the VR headsets? And what graphic cards you need to run a game at least 60 FPS in VR? Well, the first part of the question is like, what's the biggest difference between the VR headsets? If you think about the two biggest ones, or the three biggest ones, the first one is Oculus Rift, the second one is HTC Vive, and the third one is PlayStation VR. PlayStation VR is just for people that use PlayStation, so I'm gonna put that out since I'm a PC person. So I believe the question is about PC, since you can't change any graphics card in a PlayStation. The two biggest ones right now, it's HTC Vive and Oculus Rift. Oculus Rift you can use if you just want to plug and play and you're gonna stay in your place with a controller maybe. So it's much easier to just start with Oculus Rift. But a lot of people that are using right now, it's using the HTC Vive. And that's because they have like many sensors. So instead of just staying in your place with a controller, you have to move around the room and do all the virtual reality things. So people are getting much more of the VR experience from the HTC Vive. The second question that he asked is, what graphics card do you need to run a game at least 60 FPS in virtual reality? The first thing that I have to say is that NVIDIA recommended to have at least the NVIDIA GTX 970 or up. And NVIDIA recommended to have at least the R9 290 or greater. I'm not so much in the AMD side, but I can say that the R9 290 is exactly in the place where you can just start virtual reality, not have the best experience. So to have a really great experience, you're probably gonna need a 980 SLI or 980 Ti. And for the AMD side, you're probably going to need the R9 290X or greater. But if you don't have any of these cards and you're thinking to upgrade your card sometime in the future, I recommend you to just hold the money right now, because NVIDIA has just released the new 1080 and 1070 that's probably going to come to Sweden or your country next month or something. And they're going to be kind of in a good price for its performance. So hold your money and buy maybe 1070 or 1080 GTX from NVIDIA. That's my recommendation if you really want to have a great experience with virtual reality. My last question comes from Victor, and he asked me how to travel to another solar system and colonize a planet with what we know today. And the second part, he asked me what will be the best method in the future. Well, Victor, after a vast and really careful research of over 15 minutes of internet, I can tell you what's the best. So you can hear about photonic propulsion, wormhole, human hibernation, or even antimatter rocket. But still the best way to travel is of course with Doctor Who stories. That's it for today, my friends. Adventures are calling me. So if you like this video, press the like button and don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more of me in the future. And I hope that you're gonna help me also to build this community together. My name is Manu and this is Tech Meet, the place that brings the community tech together. See you next time.